Good afternoon, and welcome into another Titan Talk. It is 11th of March, and it's me and Kilgoon on the show, once again with the illustrious Manny, who's always a big talker on these shows. And today, obviously, Charon released yesterday, and obviously there's a lot of changes to base stats of gods and stuff so far. But so far, it's not been too bad in terms of a patch release. I'm touching wood, but, you know,
we haven't
there's always things.
You know, this is... It's been a quiet patch from our perspective, so it's hard for us to know if everything is great and there's no issues, or people just aren't telling us what they feel. So, you know, it'd be great to hear from chat if there's any feels on the balance changes that we've done, if there's any feels on, you know, just how things are going, any issues that you're running into. We have noticed a couple little feels things about Charon that we want to address to make him a little bit better in maybe the next hotfix. Maybe it'll be in the next major update. But there are a few things there that we've already updated on our side. And then
we have the great.
My chat is not working.
There you go. Here you go.
Thanks.
I'll just give you this one. I get one. But there was obviously we had some server difficulties last night that came up. Just for those that were playing.
Yes.
For context, we're not 100% solved, I believe, at the moment of what exactly went wrong. But we did have Steam maintenance that then came on the back of our servers. And what people saw, because I was actually in game as well, what people saw was like they couldn't load in, or it was very slow loading. The menu was very slow, and even in game to begin the game, your items weren't populating in store, but it did resolve itself after a couple of hours. The team is working to investigate exactly why all that happened, but it's not a consistent issue we're having.
Yeah, it was some kind of a weird one-off back-end thing that we are investigating, but it's not like you said, we don't currently, knock on wood, have concerns of that continuing. You know, it was a one-off thing we were able to fix pretty quickly, so apologies for that.
What was it? 1 hour earlier? Oh, the clocks went forward, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Time changes.
Got into a casual with no sound too, which sucked. Yeah, that has been a very rare recurring issue for several months now. But it's very rare, and we can't figure out what specifically is causing that. Yeah. So if anybody does have any information on, you know, anything that they have noticed when they get the weird situation where you load into a game without audio, we are interested in addressing it. We just haven't been able to find any consistency to fix it. If you've had it happen 7 times, then you might be doing something unique that could help us identify it. So let us know. I think my guess is that it's somehow tied to like alt tabbing during specific phases of loading or something. Yeah. But we just have not been able to consistently reproduce it.
It could also be changing your audio sources.
Yeah.
During stuff. We're not intentionally letting this happen, and we are trying to resolve it if we can come across what's causing it.
Who Ye Black Lines are back.
Dun, dun, dun.
That is news to me. I can take a look. Do you have any more details? Is it a specific Hu Yi skin, or is it all Hu Yi 2s are causing this, or is it any details are great. I'm just gonna make a note that we can look into it.
Karen's look, can you miss if you start right in front of him? I'll let the devs.
I think that's one of the things that is known. It's basically like it's if you are. Basically, it's like it's a very narrow window that you can mess with, but it is there.
So yeah, for today, we're just basically going to take questions from chat for the most part, answer as much as we can, and look forward to what's next.
Yeah, sorry, I was taking another note that control plus number isn't upgrading abilities. I will take a look at that. I have not seen a report of that so far, so take a look. And then also that titles are missing. I've also not seen a report of that. But we can take a look.
It's going to get brought up, but I'm pretty sure I've already seen questions in it as well. When are we doing the next part of the roadmap? Obviously, Gilgamesh is
probably
the next one
Monday.
Cards, but Monday.
Probably Monday, because we'll have the Gilgamesh patch note show on Wednesday, and then PTS with
cool
stuff. So it's probably going to be Monday.
So tune in on Monday if you want to see the next couple of gods coming to the game.
Mm-hmm. What are day one Charon stats looking like? Day one stats are very
hit and miss is what I'd say.
Yeah, it's hard to know exactly how things are looking. Things usually settle out over the next few days. I don't think he's looking overly strong or overly weak right now. I think he's looking just kind of middle of the road. But
I think a lot of people are expecting him to be really strong in necessarily mid or jungle or solo, and really he's more of a supportive god, and his aspect will turn him a little bit more. Stats-wise, though, as well, there's always a lot of... In terms of casual games, it's one way to do some stats, but the problem is that you're going to get a ton of mirror matches as well, and consistently in ranked, people ban the new god, so our data limitations are pretty small on day one.
Why did Amma have 17% on her 2 on PTS, but on release it's back to 15%? Was this a bug? I'm not sure on that one specifically. I believe there were a couple balance things that didn't go through, but I can ask on that one. Okay, I got it as a note. Somebody asking about brand new gods and if we're getting any this year. I am not going to say anything about gods after the ones that we've announced as part of our roadmap. There is always a chance that we do a new god sometime this year. There's a chance that we don't, right? It just depends on what we think is the most important thing for the community and where our resources can be best put. The feedback we've consistently gotten is that people want as many classic gods as quickly as possible. So that's what we've been prioritizing right now. At some point this year that may change, but right now we are focused on the things we announced as the roadmap.
Did you guys change the mastery stars? I don't personally like how they look. I know there've been a few iterations.
Yeah. So the SMITE 1 badge mastery stars changed with this update in a way that was not 100% intended. So we that is something that we are still working on. We changed how SMITE 1 and SMITE 2 mastery stars looked last update because they were not consistently spaced. It just was not they didn't look good before. People have rose-colored glasses now of like, oh, but they look so... No, they didn't look good before.
There was frustrations before.
Yeah, so we addressed that, and then people are like, now I don't like how they look now. So, and then they accidentally got made too big for the SMITE 1 badge stars in particular with this update. I don't think that I think that we also did get some feedback that the SMITE 1 stars are good. They're just too big. So, I think that we're still looking at it. It's on our list, but it's we'll probably see minor adjustments as we continue.
I've made a note of that global emote cuckoo thing that was mentioned.
Okay. Those pesky stars are getting a lot of love. Yeah, the correct answer was for us to just not touch them at all, and then people would not have complained because it would be the way that it was. But unfortunately, we have done some work on them, so now we will continue getting feedback on them for the rest of our lives. Can we get apply all option for borders frames? It's on our to-do list. We just haven't gotten to it yet. The way that
big request.
It's a common community request. It's a thing that, like I said, that we would like to do. The way that our back end is set up, it is harder than you would think it would be. There's also the kind of philosophical question of like, do you stomp what people already have equipped, or do you only load it to unequipped, or like do you have a new equip option that is like use default
for everything,
or something,
and then
you have like a global equip, like a platform level or an account level. This is my default loadout. Like there's just a lot of difficulties with how we actually implement it and what it looks like, but it is something that we want to do eventually. I did not see Bam's 83 from last night, but I saw that Bam scored 83 last night. In basketball.
Okay, cool. I was like, sport? I'm like, I don't know.
Bam Adebayo.
Okay.
He scored 83 points, which is the second highest of all time. So now it goes Wilt, Bam, Kobe.
Gotcha.
And it was just kind of one of those weird nights where it's like...
He just popped off.
He also scored like 40 points just from free throws.
Okay.
And it was just a weird night. He was playing against one of the worst teams in the history of the NBA, and he feasted. And I mean, good job to him, dude. Like it's cool. You make your mark in history, right?
Basketball doesn't have F6 at 10, I guess.
No, it does not. Can we change the interaction button for getting into Charon's boat? Trying to pick up a buff next to him and getting in the boat instead is frustrating. Currently not planning on changing that. We think that the interaction button is the correct button to use to get into his boat. I think that the feedback that you're really giving here is like, how do we prioritize buff pickups versus getting into Charon's boat, and should picking up a buff be prioritized over getting into Charon's boat? And that's more feedback that we could potentially act on. Buff mages, I need Scylla one shot. Okay, sure, why not? Just should every ability one shot?
Every mage ult should in mage players' opinions.
I feel like most mage players think every ability should one shot, not just the ults.
2 autos should kill a person as a count.
2 autos?
I mean,
just should be 1.
That's what they'd like.
Yeah,
that's what they'd like.
Yeah, it's do you remember
2 with crit.
GoldenEye, Man with the Golden Gun, which is the one shot, one kill.
Yeah. I used to always play Golden Gun for sure. Definitely a good mode. I mean, being real, some of the ults on mages may need better scaling, may need something, but at the same time, like, I don't think everything should one shot. And realistically, when they say one shot, we talking about against the carry, we talking about against the tank, yada yada.
You know, and we have more things that we want to do to mages. We've talked about before that we're still looking at the way that
changes.
Yeah, itemization changes. Some of the things like the way that Tahuti works, and the way that Pen works, and like we're looking at a lot of these things. This is not the final state of balance for Smite 2. And we are definitely looking at mages in general.
Balance is always subjective, and it never changes. It'll never be balanced.
Nope.
That's an impossible feat of a MOBA.
And I think that, like, to some extent,
if it was, people get bored too.
That's what I was gonna say. If it was just if it was perfectly balanced and we never touched anything, I think that at some point people would start to get bored of it. Like, I think
every role will be upset about the balance of the game at some point in their livelihood, and like what playstyles you play with.
I'm a simple man. Just let my Ross Knight be a global ult. What do you think about a global?
I like the idea of a raw global. Yeah. To be honest, when they did Aspect, I suggested, like, what if it was global? And like, no, that sounds terrible. And I'm like, well, that's why I'm not a dev. I got Get +1. I'll take it. The rollout knockup was good enough for me.
How will Double Worshippers interact with boosters, and when is the next Double Worshipper weekend? So Double Worshippers, we are still. I don't have the exact. We're running the test to see exactly how they interact. There is an expected way that they interact, but I'm not going to say for sure because
it might not.
We'll see.
Okay. And St. Patrick's Day is, I believe, the 17th. Which is a Tuesday, which is not a weekend. So we're trying to work out which weekend we're doing it. Yeah. And we believe we should be doing 2 times a weekend for probably the 21st weekend.
Yeah, probably.
21st of March is kind of the goal there. Maybe a couple of days early, we'll let you know. But more info to follow in the coming week.
Excuse me. I've never in my life been more afraid of a wave than I have been with this update. Yeah, Charon ult, turns out, has always been very good. Yeah. It's big. It's hard to avoid. It CCs you for a year and a half, and it can do a lot of damage in the Aspect, which you guys haven't even gotten to enjoy yet. So on Friday, we'll have the Aspect to play with.
I saw plenty of mages. To be honest, patch day, it's always the case with Charon where whoever gets in first is just going to lock it. It doesn't matter what role, and you'll see it in jungle, you'll see it in solo and mid. So seeing it around, but I do think he'll be pretty potent when the Aspect comes through.
Okay, this request, can we see it in the minimap like in Smite 1? We went back and looked at Smite 1 because we saw people saying this in chat when we revealed the character. His minimap is not on the wave in Smite 1.
It never was.
We were like, maybe it is for esports spectator or something, but it is not on the map in
maybe
game.
Some like ideas that because they saw it in spectator you could see it, but we never had it on the minimap originally. If someone finds it, by the way, and proves us wrong, we're more than happy to go back and look. We're not trying to like call people's bluff on this.
But we like booted up Smite 1 and we were looking in different modes and like we weren't seeing it. So,
Many ways not showing a spectator we're aware of, Cave. It's just not a high priority, unfortunately. Spectator mode is really on our lowest priority. It doesn't get utilized as much as we'd like. Obviously, if we get more time, we do want to invest more into spectator. But there's more priority things.
Yeah, there's a million things that we want to get done. It's always a prioritization game, right?
Yeah.
And every game has a million things they want to get done. It's not just us, right? It's I think that like if you look at the pace of the things that we get done versus anybody, we're pretty damn fast, right? It's just, there's always a priority.
I think what comes with that, though, is expectation from the community. Plus, we do this show 3 times a week where people ask us questions and we're like, it's on the roadmap. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, well, I've not seen it yet. And, if we slow those down, it'd be different.
People that are wanting me to come to their sports games, I apologize. I will not be able to play in your pickup soccer game or your basketball game.
I'd love
but I appreciate the invite.
Gillian road trip around the US to go and play pickup games and talk balance.
Mm-hmm. I had one and then I lost it.
How far away is Indiana?
Indiana's
from here.
I don't know, probably a 10-hour drive.
Okay.
I don't know. It's up by like
the same person asked me to go there for a soccer game tomorrow.
Okay.
At 9 p.m.
Yeah.
I'm in work.
I'm curious. I'm curious how far away. Let's see. From here to Indiana. I'm just going to go to Indianapolis. Apologies if that is.
Take it out. I'll look for questions though, chat, so don't worry. You're not going to lose out.
It is 8 hours and 49 minutes. So 9 hours. 10 hours is a good guess. I'll take that.
Serious question. Are there any plans for the other Prism skins to be bundled like Merlin? Example, Apollo's Bit skin and Ra's Plague skin.
So we are kind of seeing how this one goes. This one, the Merlin one in particular, is weird because the skin itself is already in a collection, right? So for most of the skins that have prisms that are not part of a Traveler, we've just been over time turning them into Travelers, like we did for Ravenstrike Noir. We've done, I don't remember, we've done several of them, right? Thanatos, I think we might have, maybe we haven't done that one yet, but like that's an example.
Thanatos was, I believe, yeah.
So the idea is that over time we are converting a lot of those into Travelers because that seems to be the way that people most want to purchase prisms. But for this one in particular, we couldn't turn it into a Traveler because the skin is already in a collection, and then having like a Traveler with the skin plus a collection with the skin, it just seemed weird.
Yeah.
So
it makes it logical for them to just be one spot to get the pickup, is what you're saying.
Yeah. So we thought that this was maybe better, and just for this case, some of the other ones that aren't bundled into Travelers yet will probably end up being bundled into Travelers. We are kind of planning to do one. As much as we can, like one special thing on that page every patch.
Okay.
So there will be other fun things to look at, hopefully, if this works.
Keep going. Okay.
But it's not, it's not, maybe not repackaging all the old skins.
On the note of balance, supports in my play group have been pretty displeased with the support starters at the moment and lack of good early game items, i.e. stacking items for supports. How do you feel about the state of Guardians right now? Personally, as a support main, I'll put this out there. There's more variation in terms of starter options for supports at the moment than there probably has been for a while, because you were really just trapped into the heroism or war flag meta consistently, especially because they had the passives attached to them in terms of your sustain that comes from those, in terms of the health regen, the mana regen, and also the gold income. But now that's part of the passive, it means you've got more exploratory options. There definitely is cookie cutters for each god, but each one's going to be a little bit different. And then in terms of your build, it's really systematic of what you're playing against in the game. Are you playing against a lot of physicals? You're going to build more physical items. I get the point of people missing stacking items a little bit in support, but at the same time being forced into a complete cookie cutter builder support is not kind of the goal from what I can see from the devs' point of view.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm just super into my support lane at the moment where I'm like...
And I will say, like, we have more changes coming, right? Like, again, kind of like what we said about mages, right? Like, I don't think we are necessarily super upset with the way that that support is, but I think that could there be more tanky starter options? Sure. Could there be some other just things about how we build that we could do differently? Sure. So, I know it's not priority, but do you think you'll ever go back and update God card borders for some of the early Smite 2 gods? Because the newer borders look so good. I'm glad you like the newer borders. Probably won't go back and update the old ones because it's kind of one of those things where once a thing is in the game, usually if we change it too drastically, people get mad about it, right? It's just like, it's rarely worth the effort because we usually piss off as many people as we make happy. And sure, we could make them look better. I'm not saying we couldn't. But I think that like there are people who like the way they look now, and we'll probably not get back to those.
How is Smite doing in Europe, or what is the best region for Smite 2? I don't think there's a best region for Smite 2. I'd say, is Europe our second biggest player base outside of the US?
I believe so.
North America, yeah.
Yep. It always has been. For a while, like Latin America was bigger in some modes, but it was kind of dependent. When we add the random cosmetic costume, will we overhaul the entire profile screen? Probably not. If it required a total overhaul, then that would be an even bigger arc of work, and it'd be even longer for you to get it, right? So I would say it probably will be something that we figure out how to make work within the current system, and then go from there.
Will there be a way to make it easier to tell clones and such apart from gods that are on your same team? I get confused a lot, and I go to help a clone by mistake. To be honest, I feel that sometimes too. That there's a few clones that, like, I'll make a note and let the devs know it was mentioned here. Not something I can guarantee, but I do feel like Dansborough clones, stuff like that, Morgan Le Fay clones, you can start to get a little confused by them. But realistically, it's not a huge problem, but it should be looked at.
Do we have numbers if the number of action cameras has surpassed classic cameras? I don't off the top of my head. I would imagine that there are more classic cameras still, but the action cam has worked well for getting new players to stick around and start to learn the game. So we're pleased with it. It's still there for a reason. I think like a lot of people do end up changing to classic cam, if for no other reason than they get bullied by the community when they see their But I think
we see more and more clips these days coming out of people on the new cam, and then players going, "Hey, go to the other cam." Not in the nicest terms of it, but they will be like, "Hey, you should go to the other camera."
You should ban action cam after level 20. If people like it, then why would we change the way that they play the game that they like playing it? Like, I know that, you probably assume that they have a lower win rate because they're using action cam or something. We haven't necessarily seen that that's true, right? It's one of the things that the game does, right, because we do use matchmaking rating, right, is that you are match made with people that are of your skill level.
Yeah.
Right? This is why, like people like a long time ago were really upset, and there's probably still some people who are upset, that we have controller users and keyboard and mouse users in the same matchmaking pool, right? But you are match made with people of a similar skill level to you, independent of input method. So it doesn't really matter if like one person's on keyboard and mouse and one person's on controller, or one person's action cam and one person's on classic cam, because you're in the same skill bracket, right? It's just like, could that person be a higher skill bracket if they changed camera and input? Maybe, I don't know. Like, but realistically, the win rate's going to be roughly the same because we're matchmaking you with people that are similar skill.
Honestly, on the esports side, in terms of the competitive players, like there's high-level controller players that beat PC players every single week these days. So.
Is pet tech easier to use now that we're doing a new thing for it with Morgan Le Fay clones? I would say not easier to do, but we are we're building more tech, which gradually makes it easier over time. But it's not like snap our fingers, get pets, snap our fingers, get new bots right now. If we have the Archfeed bundle, are we meant to get boosted levels every time a skin comes out, or were they all at the start? I'm not sure. I think it was all at the start if you bought all, but I'm not 100% sure. And then this person who's also asking, if we buy all, can we get the prisms and not have to use market coins, because it feels like you need to play games for each prism and it gets grindy? Probably not. I think we do like the way that the Traveler system works, and you are getting boosted levels, so it should be faster to acquire coins, especially at the beginning. Are there any plans to implement the new AI tech for Mike Typhon? Maybe eventually. Mike Typhon, I think, has been more polarizing recently. At the beginning, everybody loved him, and now
he's doing okay.
He's doing okay.
He's doing okay.
He gets big.
He still doesn't pop off that much in many games, especially in conquest modes. You're not seeing him too often, but you'll see him more in arena. You'll see him more in assault for sure.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that are asking, like, there are several people that are asking questions tied to the gaming sphere as a whole right now with, you know, some recent games that have been shut down or are due to be shut down, and asking, like, why one person in particular keeps getting auto-modded out because it's too long, but I can still see the message. And the question is kind of like, why have we been able to kind of weather some controversies and continue to grow over time when some other games have not, right? I think that one of the things that we benefit from, just to be completely frank, is that this is a game that a lot of people love.
Yeah.
Right? It's we aren't starting from zero with it. We have the benefit of
history, community.
There's people that love this game, right? Have good memories of playing this game. And I think in their heart of hearts want to see it succeed and grow, right? I think that also one of the things that SMITE does that not every game that has come out recently has done is that SMITE is it is a singular experience. You cannot find another game on the market that does exactly what SMITE does. There's no other game that you control and play it exactly the way that we do. We have this weird like 2D, 3D thing that we do, which I think makes the game really interesting and adds, like, to me, it's like the best of both worlds, because you get a little bit more action, a little bit more like you have to actually aim and, you know, dodge skill shots and stuff than you get in a top-down MOBA for me. But it's not to the extent of, like, you know, I'm Twitch, you know, trying to go Mach 5 with my hair on fire while, you know, hitting a snipe and sliding backwards or something, right? Like, that's just, like, so mechanically complex that I'm not as focused on the core, like the core I'm playing a MOBA aspect of it. So I think that, like, we fit a unique space that nobody else really does, that people really like. And I think it's like those two things, plus us having a pretty good understanding of what we need to do to improve, and interacting closely with the community every week to make sure that we are, like, aligned on what the most important things are and what we should be doing, and being willing to, like, be humble and say, you guys are right, we don't know what we're doing, we're going to throw what we were doing away. And,
I feel like we should say that every episode, to be honest, is that we don't know what we're doing, we're just going to keep flying. I will say the IP as well. Like, we're using gods and goddesses, right? It's mythology, and a lot of people are interested in mythology, so that can give them a bite to want to come in and check it out. Yeah. I think it's a really good crossover in terms of a MOBA versus World of Warcraft is another example, like arenas in World of Warcraft. Yeah. There's a lot of crossover with a game like SMITE with a third-person element that brings more people to potentially play the game, try it out for an action game. It's not to, you know, poo-poo or shit on other companies that are struggling or had issues with their game.
No, not at all. No, it's so hard.
Just kind of how we look at it and how we're doing realistically. Like, we've been through our own turbulent troubles consistently anyway. Yeah. So,
and this industry is also very, it's very more and more it's hit driven. Yeah. Right. It's like our sister studio, right? Our sister studio made like 4 games over the span of several years, and they all kind of flopped and they moved on really quickly because nobody was playing them, right? Yeah. And spending more time on them was not going to lead to more people playing them. It was what it was, for sure. Right? And then they found something really special with Dead Zone Rogue. And people love Dead Zone Rogue. That game is doing really well. People continue to buy it every day. Yeah. And the people that play it really enjoy it. It's like 90% positive on Steam or something, right? It's like people really like it, which is cool. But it's like,
it's not always going to hit, first of all.
And it's the hard part about games is that, like, it takes so long to get to the point of finding out, does this thing hit or not, right? It's like, I have a team of, you know, 30 people that put 5 years of their life into this thing, and then nobody wanted it, right? Yeah. Like, you know, everybody has this, and everybody really liked Expedition 33, right? Sure. And they're like, oh my God, this is the example of how games should be made. You know, it's a 30-person team that worked on it for 4 or 5 years, right? There are a lot of games that are 30-person teams that work on it for 4 or 5 years. The game comes out and nobody cares, right? Mm-hmm. and it isn't necessarily a commentary on the people that are part of the dev team. It's not, that doesn't necessarily mean that they had a bad idea. It means that they had an idea that didn't capture the minds of the gaming community. Yeah. And they weren't just like, gamers weren't just like, oh my God, I have to play this game, right? Yeah. Because gamers can only, like, there's only so many things that can take the gamer mind share at a given time. For sure.
And the gaming community as well has changed a lot over the years, where everybody now looks at like the chart numbers and goes, this game is good or this game is bad.
It's so bad. Just play games you have fun with. That's you know what I did last night or 2 nights ago? Then I've been up like all night the last 2 nights because of it. I rolled a character on a EverQuest like fan server.
Okay.
Because I have not played this game in like 25 years, and like I stumbled on like a YouTube video of somebody running around doing some EverQuest stuff, and I was like instant like I'm a teenager nostalgia again. Yeah. And I was like, I just want to run around a little bit, and I made a character, and I'm like, I'm having so much fun. And there's like peak 1,000 people on this server, you know, and it's just, this is the most fun I've had in forever because it's like reminding me of when I was a kid, you know. Yeah. So yeah, it's just I think that just let people have fun and play games that they're having fun playing. Like, I don't understand why we need to care about what everybody else is doing.
Being so forward-facing and community focus is a major benefit that most studios do not do. Give yourself some credit. I agree with that in some sense, Church, but I also feel like this is always, if you go back to the beginning of SMITE 1, this is always something the core of SMITE and Hi-Rez was, of like forward-facing to the community, constant interaction, as much as we really can. While our team has dwindled in terms of size, we have tried to consistently keep these going out and keep that sort of community sentiment going. But it does get trickier, don't get me wrong, to stay as engaged and continue doing the workload behind the scenes. But at the same time, we know it's kind of the foundation. The community is the foundation of SMITE, realistically, of what was built with the community. A lot of the staff came from the community. We're a big part of it too. We know what it's like to be the guy that logs in and wants to play the game, you know? So we understand the community but I don't think that's our necessarily biggest benefit. It's just one of the ones that we recognize ourselves.
Arena's still stuttering or lagging for me during team fights, but not in other modes, even on low settings. So we did make substantial improvements to the performance of Arena in this update.
We had some positive reports about
it. It's a lot better. So we still aren't done. Not all of the improvements made it into this update. I believe there is another round coming in the next update. And if I'm wrong with that, I'm sorry, but that is my understanding right now. And I think that like we're aware that the performance hit of the initial version of Arena was too severe. It's a lot better this patch. So, you know, hopefully we can keep making it better. And can we have the red targeter hitbox back like in SMITE 1? That's something that is on our to-do list. There are a lot of people that are asking for...
I know that wasn't there, to be honest.
Yeah, so instead what we switched to...
I used to use it in 1, but I don't remember.
We switched to when you're mousing over someone, the health bar gets like brackets around it. And then you do still have, like you did in SMITE 1, the red outline of the character when they're in range or when you have an ability targeter on them. So the brackets, it was kind of redundant, and... I think we were concerned that...
too much information as well with abilities going off over the top of it, right?
I think it's more that there are two issues with it that we were concerned about, which is why we stopped doing it, right? First one is that we had feedback from some new players that like their initial thoughts on it was that it was like a lock-on like tab targeting thing where it's like if it has the symbol, then my ability will hit or my basic attack will hit. And it was communicating the wrong thing to new players that how their abilities and how their basic attacks worked. So even if we do bring it back, it probably won't be on by default for people. There's a lot of things on the to-do list. You're right. You're very right.
Never ended.
Yeah. So that was a concern. And then the other concern was just like, it kind of makes the game look bad. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like this, even with a decent art treatment, it's kind of like a dev-looking UI treatment. It's like, I know we draw on a box around the thing that you're going to hit.
The community is, though, like, that's just for me personally. Nobody else gets to see that. So if I'm choosing that, but I do get your point.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, like, the idea is we'll bring it back. It'll be an optional, thing that you can turn on. It's not that hard for us to do. We basically just need to do the art pass more than anything else. But, it's one of those, like, there were reasons why we switched away from it with SMITE 2. But I can see why people do still want it.
What do you think about making diamond and legendary skins from Smite 1 into Smite 2 Twitch drop recolors? That's not on me. I put the Twitch drops out, but I don't get to choose what we do, and we're kind of looking at newer ones for the characters instead.
I mean, like, it's theoretically doable, right? I think the question is well, legendary is already like Onyx, so we would not do legendary. Close enough.
And diamonds,
diamond is kind of its own thing. I think that people would feel, dude, my new glasses are supposed to finally get here on Friday, and I am so excited.
It's because those ones are loose.
They are taped together in multiple places.
Nice.
My 1-year-old smashed them.
You mentioned,
and they've been broken for like 3 weeks now, and they're like,
you just feed them the tape all the time, and
it's so uncomfortable. Yeah. I'm going crazy. Anyway, what was I talking about? I got distracted by my glasses.
Diamond legendary skins.
Oh yeah. Okay, so if we give you diamond skins or legendary skins, right? There are some people who are going to assume that connotes that you are a highly skilled player on that god. You've played that god to get to rank 10 or whatever. When really it's just a drop skin. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's the biggest risk of doing it. Like it's easy for us to do that as a recolor concept, but it's more just, is it communicating the right thing to players? Does it devalue the Radiant skins? Or, I don't know. If the community is really excited about the idea, it's something we could definitely consider.
Any plans for more UI UX polish soon? I think we're always trying to update
every
little update with one little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we just put in the God screen polish 2 patches ago, I think.
Yeah, it's for the card sizes as well, stuff like that. Yeah,
there's something every update. This update there wasn't as much because we were mostly working on some anti-lever stuff, which hopefully is going to make it to the next update. But yeah, it's a constant juggling act between new features, quality of life feature improvements, and bug fixes, right? And we're trying to find what the things that we think will make the most impact at any given time are, right? For right now, I think that like one of the biggest issues facing the game is levers, dodgers, reconnect stuff. And hopefully we can make an impact on that with this system. And so honestly, we prioritize that.
One of the biggest ones I know you were looking at doing for the lever system is just getting the name back of the person on the left. And to be real with you, the reason I want that one back is because I played quite a few games yesterday on launch day.
Yeah.
Ran into a couple of levers as well. However, when I looked at their accounts out of interest, they had not had reports for leaving before. It wasn't a regular thing for them leaving. However, this one time they left, and I had like 2 back to back and was like, this is weird, but when I check the data, it always comes back to like, it's not a regular thing. Yeah. Because straight away in those lobbies, people are like, Hindu, ban them for leaving. And I'm like, they didn't actually do anything wrong. I'm not going to ban them for the very first ever like AFK at the start of the game.
Yeah, and I think that like, that's kind of the plan with the system too. Is
It'll
give
like, some more insight.
If you, well, I mean, like if you occasionally, if there's something that goes wrong, right? If your internet goes out or, your baby wakes up or, whatever, things happen in real life, right? Yeah. And people do have to leave games or do accidentally dodge games, or whatever, right? Like things happen. But if it's a consistent chain of bad behavior that we're really concerned about, like the offenders. And it's also like making sure that people understand what the expectations are. Yeah. Because if you don't understand that this is that kind of a game, like so many younger gamers, they're used to playing games that are just drop in, drop out. And it doesn't matter. Like if I'm playing Fortnite and like, somebody knocks on my door, I can just leave the game and nobody cares.
It's a battle royale and like, it only affects you.
Yeah. So it's like, the number of games that like you can't leave in the middle of is very slim these days, especially in the console world. So it's just making sure people understand the expectations.
How do you guys feel about VR and VR gaming in general? I'd love a Smite 2 VR, just for, cool. I wouldn't play it a lot. Yeah. If you think about how much would go into it.
I've never really gotten into the VR thing.
Honestly, not hugely myself. I did get into iRacing for a little while though. And like during that little spell of driving cars around, VR was very, very entertaining. And I felt the improvements for sure from the early days of VR all the way to where we're at now. But I know they're still working on some VR stuff. Just didn't take off as much as I thought it might after the last boost of VR games that we saw come through.
Yeah, I think it's like the scope of games that work really well in VR, I think, is more limited than people initially thought.
That's fair.
And I think the other thing is like, it's not a. What am I trying? I'm trying to say that like, I can watch a video of a normal video game on my computer, and I understand what it looks like and why this is cool.
If you watch a VR game, it's trickier.
You don't really understand how cool VR is until you're doing it.
It's a very individual thing of like do it and enjoy it. But yeah, if you try and watch somebody else VR in, it does give you a weird perception.
Yeah.
Spectator VR would be sick. How would that work? Just someone running around the map the entire time in VR trying to find the action. Could be interesting.
What happened last night with servers? If it's shareable, it was an internal like back-end failure that I can't really be too much more specific about than that. That we think was just kind of a one-off thing, and it should hopefully not happen again. How can you fix tanks on Joust and Assault without the assist gold on starters? You nerfed tanks on the other modes with this. Why do tanks need to have more gold than other roles? I don't think that the tank items are balanced around costing more. I think that like if the problem is that if you think that tanks need to have a gold advantage to be tanky, then that's more of an issue with tanking and tank stats as a whole and not gold income, right? Because it should just be 10,000 gold worth of tank stats should be of similar value to 10,000 gold worth of damage stats, right? Would a fan-made SMITE card game be covered under the selling agreement for stuff like Celestial Wicks? Maybe so the fact that it's a game might not allow us to license that through the normal system, because there's certain things about defending your IP in the same type of thing that you're doing that we might not be able to do that. Sorry to disappoint, but I think that
Jack's asking that question.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to read the question. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and it's a good question. I think we probably
if you realistically have an idea that you're trying to push, reach out to me and we'll talk. But at the same time, I think this is more imagination of like, I'm going to make a card game. And I'm like, go ahead. But
somebody says, what about trading cards? They don't do anything but just look cool. Probably easier for us to agree to than a card game, unfortunately. Assault does not have a minions have spawned sound cue. Not sure if new, but is noticeable with the Assault start time change. Kellen, are you still in here? You want to take a look at that?
I was Kellen in here, right?
Kellen was chatting earlier. Yeah, I don't know if he's still here.
I wonder if it was just adjusted. Did it used to have it in Assault already, chat? I don't remember if it did. Did it ever have it minions have spawned in Assault? Maybe
it says, haha, yeah, that's a Josh thing. Okay, well, unfortunately, Josh is busy right now. I have to talk to him right after this about how he's busy and trying to figure out what we should be working on.
How we can make him less busy, but he needs to
stay busy. It's not how we can make him less busy. It's how what we want to get done, because there's a bug that I want us to fix that unfortunately is going to be very time consuming, and I think we're probably going to have to say we'll fix it later because we need to do some other stuff. So that's frustrating.
Josh and chat, I'm so busy.
Can we get visual pop-ups for Aladdin's wishes being used for the audibly impaired? Maybe I don't know exactly how we would handle that on the UI.
In my head, the only thing I can think of is a lamp scrolls across your screen as he uses a wish is the only thing I can think of. Or something that highlights him on the map. I don't know.
Yeah. Loki's aspect attachable effect disappears on RTO when she swaps stances. Interesting. So does that mean that because I feel like we fixed Afro Kiss at one point, because in early dev, Afro Kiss was disappearing when she swapped stances.
Yeah.
But if Afro Kiss is still working, then that's weird.
It could have been some change towards Loki's logic of attaching, just because we were having some issues with his For example, there was a Susano bug that interacted with a Loki once, and I think we did some work on Loki that may have caused this. So I'll have the team have a quick look. I'll put it down.
For gods with multiple Smite 1 recolors, should we as the community get to vote on which one gets to be a Twitch drop? Unfortunately, probably not, because we make those at the same time that we're making the gods, so we would have to tell you when the gods are coming out way in advance to let you be able to vote on that, which we think that it's better to keep, like give you guys some advance notice of what gods are coming, but not tell you actually everything that's coming for the rest of the year, because things change and whatnot.
Early thoughts on stat adjustments, any immediate random outliers? From what I can tell, there's nothing crazy out there, being real with you.
The only thing I've seen people complain about is Thor, but I think that was more theoretical than actual, because we have data.
There's been a lot of theory crafting this weekend of what's good, what's bad. Obviously, Assassins all now at 380 movement speed, for example, seeing them gain more mobility than the junglers. So everyone's instant reaction is junglers are definitely strong right now. But then there's a few others that have changed. I don't think it's going to be something overnight that we're like, okay, these are the things. I think it's going to take quite a few days for some of it to play out.
Aren't these stat changes just roles like S1? No, that's not the goal of them. The goal is that basically they're not nearly pushed as far as Smite 1 is. I think that's the biggest difference. In Smite 1, your stats are very limiting and really push you to only work in a specific role. What this change does is the word that Pond likes to use is it adds texture, where it's more like gods should feel a little bit more distinct, a little bit more unique, regardless of what role they're being played in. Yeah. But they should still have enough flexibility that you can push them into a lot more roles than you could with the way Smite 1 stats work. So it's you can say it's like a very soft version of what Smite 1 does, or you could say it's a less, crazy version of what Smite 2 does, right? Where it's like it's not literally anything goes, but it's way more goes than in Smite 1. Did the aspect-specific base stat adjustments that Pond mentioned happen? I'm not sure.
I don't believe they've happened just yet. They're definitely not in game at the moment for the aspect-specific adjustments. I know it's something that Pond's going to look into. But first of all, we really want to be real. You're dialing just the first take of these balance adjustments across the board before they start to expand towards aspect areas. Pond may have already been working on them, but there's nothing official just yet.
Could we get a setting to change the color of our ground targeter and ruler? I often find myself losing track of them in the middle of a team fight, and I think a color change would help. It's one of those things that is also on our maybe one day eventually list. The way the ruler is done is actually quite difficult. I mean, it's doable, but it's much harder to change the color because it's a material. It's not just a single color thing. The ground targeter, I believe, is a flat color thing, so it would be easier to do. But yeah, it's one of those things that's we should do. There's also I just want to mention this one because people we've seen this feedback quite a bit. Charon's water being so blue feels disconnected from his I'm not going to try and say the word, but I miss the greenish water icons. So the reason why we changed the icons is that in Smite 1 the icons were green, but the water itself was very blue in Smite 1. The actual effects colors are very close between the two games. And we had people that did not believe this, and then they pulled it up and they were like, oh yeah, the effects are very similar. Yeah. The only thing that's really changed is the icons, which we thought it made sense to change them so that it looked more like the thing that you were doing. Yeah. We're definitely not trying to distance him from who he is. It just was trying to be more realistic about what the abilities do. The mana changes have seemed strong to me, going from never worrying about mana to having 0 mana for half the game. If you have more details on specific gods or roles you're seeing that in, that would be interesting for us to hear your perspective. We've had some people say that they felt like the mana changes weren't as impactful as they thought they were going to be. So I think it kind of depends on how you're building, what gods you're playing, what role you're playing. So any more information on what's giving you those feels would be great.
Empathic abuse, you're reporting, just send me a DM about it and I'll investigate it. Hopefully it's not you this time. Just as a heads up. Yeah. I'll say it.
People are saying Carrie definitely is running low on mana.
Yeah, I think honestly it's intentional to just see how this plays out in terms of mana sustain. I think the way Conquest is going to be for a little while, at least at the start of the game, is really making you think about how you're going to use your abilities and when you're going to time your backs and your bases, rather than just spamming your ability off cooldown and not having to worry about mana. I do think it makes sense, in my opinion, to have mana be impactful in some way, at least in the early game when you're still leveling up. I do feel like by mid game you're not feeling the mana changes as much.
Yeah. Which is good. Like, I think that's probably the way it should be.
It's nice not seeing everybody walking around with 100% mana the entire time. That's for sure.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of like ability hunters is where people are feeling it the
Ability
most.
hunters are feel it first.
Yeah.
I mean, some supports as well. If you don't actually get some mana regeneration, you are going to struggle a little bit in the early game. But that is kind of offset by your passive quite a bit, at least in Conquest. Mana was not as bad as I thought it would be. I'll be honest, I also thought the mana change would be more significant to the mana reduction. It's not as painful as I thought it was going to be. But it's still, you can still feel it. It's just not as bad. But I think it's a good change.
Have either of you played Age of Mythology? I don't think I ever actually played Age of Mythology. It was like Age of Empires, right?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I played the Age of Empires games a lot,
Yeah.
but then I didn't get into Age of Mythology when it came out. I don't know what I was doing.
I think one of the reasons I got to SMITE was because it was mythology based. I'm like, wait, what? You could play a Zeus?
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, Krakens. Yeah.
Incern buffs. I played Incern today in playtest, and I destroyed. So maybe, try playing. No.
Are we gonna discuss what you were playing against in that playtest real quick?
So no, it was but no, seriously, I do think that like there is a valid Incern build.
Give me your build next week. Give me your build on Friday.
You want? Yeah.
You just come in with your build.
I stole this build off of
you soloed
somebody else's
Gold
build.
Fury today.
I very easily soloed the Gold Fury at like 6 minutes. So
popping off.
Yeah. I'll give you the build. Hold on, let me pull it up. Like I said, I stole this build from somebody on SMITE. I'm looking at SMITE builds. So
while you're looking at that, Chop Dunk. Yeah, we did already discuss the issue from last night. And we have already tried to resolve it, and it looks like we should be stable again. Apologies for the issues there.
Let's see. I almost got it.
Is there any way to know if you're first Radiant, Karan? Potentially our Posh, but if it is you, I'm not going to tell you.
Okay, so I started Bumbas. For the AoE attacks.
You were lane carry as well today, right?
What?
Was this today?
Today.
Okay, so you were carrying lane with Bumbas.
Yeah. And then Bragi's Harp, Bracer of the Abyss, Nimble Ring, Rod of Tahuti, Obsidian Shard, and then we were just way ahead. So last item I built, why am I blanking on the name of it? The item that
way ahead 6 minutes in is doing Golf Fury.
Where when you heal, you get bonus attack damage.
I should know that off the top of my head. I don't buy it enough to remember.
Yeah, I don't.
Chat be like, oh, you should know this.
Yeah. But that was the build. Vital Amplifier. Thank you, chat. That was my last item, which probably isn't a very good last item in that build. But I was just like, I'm really ahead and I don't know what to do. So it's green and yellow. Yeah, that's like, oh yeah, the green and yellow item. Yeah. But yes, that was the build. It did really well. Give it a try. Maybe I will send you all to lose a lot of games because I am selling you on a bad build. But the thing is, like, so you're healing on your spring stance.
Yeah.
It scales off 15% intelligence. So you just get a ton of lifesteal off that build. And then also your slow scales off, I think, 1.5% intelligence. So you get a ton of slow. And then you're also just dealing a ton of damage.
You just spam. Can you bring back Frostbound Hammer as a bow item, as the slow will help AD carries more than tanks? I'll be honest, I think having a perma slow and an auto attack ranged character feels pretty oppressive for everybody else to play against, especially when a lot of the people that are using those ranged attacks have escape abilities anyway to keep distance. It just provides even more distance consistently. And then you'll all get really upset when everybody in the game goes Hussar's Wings every single game, because then slows don't matter at all. That's my call on that one.
Somebody forgot about the Frostbound Hammer CERN meta. In Smite 1, that was like my favorite thing to do in Joust.
Was it? Yeah. Frostbound and Runner.
Frostbound turn. It was so.
I think everybody
so
enjoys.
silly.
Everybody enjoys being the Frostbound user or abuser, as I'll put it, who just runs people down where they can't get away.
Yeah.
But I think it's a completely opposite effect if you're the one being.
Yeah, it was totally troll. It's not actually a good thing.
Mod time if it's just no, I don't think there's any reason to time people out. I'll be honest. There's a lot of people in chat that have very like unorthodox questions or opinions. And we still answer them, okay? Some of the people that may complain and go, oh, no, time that person out. I'm like, no, you yourself have probably had some crazy questions in here that were like, yeah, sure, you know? It's allowed.
J-Dog, you've reported this several times. I will call out that I have read it, and I will make a note so I don't forget about it. But on Xbox, there's issues on the God page when using the filters that they don't always work. So I will take a look. I know Sands should be better because of the mana changes, but it can't clear minions anymore, so the item was nuked from orbit. Conduit is universally so much better now. There's no reason to build Sands.
Okay, then don't build Sands and then have less mana. That's your option. And less cooldown reduction. That's your option.
Yeah, I think the cooldown reduction is also just really good on the item, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that, yeah, it is a little bit of a... your early clear isn't going to be as good, and we know that early clear is like super duper important, right? But there's a trade-off. And it's possible that we went too far removing all the true damage, and we need to bring back some of it. But like, I think that like the initial community concern when we did this was that this was just going to be de facto built on every god in the game the way it was. So we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just the obvious only choice.
I mean, the other argument is like if they don't make that change there as the devs, then you're just going to see Sands of Time every game and go, oh man, the devs can't balance the game because all we're seeing is Sands of Time everywhere. The same way we saw War Axe for a week, you know? Like it's going to be a constant complaint where you try to balance it out.
Random kind of sports question. When we ever get a golf skin and somebody says golf skin on Heimdall.
Do you remember do you remember the golf skin that we did? We did a community vote.
Did we?
We did a community vote on 2 skins from memory. And do you remember which god had a golf skin then?
No.
Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna had a golf skin, and I believe it was the Sleepy Bedtime. I think it was the Sleepy Bedtime. And I'm sure we did a vote on that, and the community chose one over the other. We never got the golf Kumbhakarna, and that was very sad. Okay. Just seeing him golf swing someone into the sky would have been great.
It would be good.
That's the only golf skin I know
of. Now chat's deep into the sports.
We're going into
bowling
sports
safer gaps. Who do you think you are? I am. Do you know that guy? The clip? No.
I feel like I should, but not at the time. I'm sorry.
It's this bowler just like pops off with like the most unhinged like pop off of all times. It's great. Pete Weber. Yeah.
I know which one you mean.
Thank you, Chad. You know.
That's the second time Kumbhakarna's come into my brain in 2 days now.
Yeah. I have not thought about him in a while, but
I know a lot of people dislike him. I think we were playing a game last night, a custom competitive for my team, and they logged in all these picks, and they were all like carry-esque, and I'm like, man, Kumba would go so hard here against Carly. And everyone's like, why would you ever mention him? And I'm like, I don't know, he just would be a really good pick at this point.
Well, it is 2:02.
Goodness, we have gone over time. We've been so invested today with answering the questions. I guess it is time for
one more question.
Let's make them good.
I will say, are we aware of Sylvanas and Osiris being base texture? I'm aware of the Osiris Noble Knight skin being base texture. I don't think I'm aware of the Sylvanas. So.
I think I've seen a report for that one coming as well.
Okay, let me know what that one is. I'm not sure, but we are looking at the Osiris Noble Knight one.
Have you ever thought of making Baron's aspect his main kit and reworking his aspect? His aspect feels a lot more like a base design, really good, that I tend to not play the regular version. Do you think a support aspect would be a possibility instead? Being real with your curriculum, I think part of the problem is that when we port a god over from Smite 1, you end up wanting to keep it very similar to Smite 1 in the instinct because there's a lot of fans of that specific kit and that style. aspects should take that and vary it slightly is kind of the goal, or give a new take on the idea of the god depending on what it is. So I think taking that away, away as a base kit is just not a good idea in the long run, because I think you find a lot more people frustrated. There's no harm in it being an aspect version, and continue to have more aspects evolve in the future.
I think that like the other thing with just philosophically speaking, right? Base Baron kind of is the support aspect,
Correct.
right? Because
it heals your team. It's step one.
And the damage debuff on your one that scales off of your armor or magic and physical protections is really, really good. And it's like, it's one of those examples of hidden power that, we talk about sometimes where you don't realize how much it's doing, but it actually does a lot. The other thing is that like the aspect requires you to buy Baron's Brew and use it intelligently for it to not be bad.
Yeah, you
right?
get more history stacks for sure.
And that's the kind of thing that, again, it's like just a little more advanced, and you don't necessarily want people's first experience with this character to be like, well, this character sucks, when it's like, well, yeah, but you didn't access a large portion of the power because you didn't buy Baron's Brew and you didn't realize that you got a new charge every 20 seconds kind of thing.
That was my question anyway.
Okay. I got to pick a question. Sylvanas pole seeds and plants are base texture. Okay. I'm just going to write that down. Okay. Thank you. And Neja Sash is also textureless? What happened?
I heard that one.
Not Dash. Sash.
Copy all my notes over.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, I gotta pick one more question. I'm sorry.
Time for a textureless themed prism. We should do that.
Oh, jeez, everybody would just think.
Wouldn't that make it easier for us if we don't have to do textures to it, right?
Yeah, but I don't think I would like it, right? It's like, I don't know. I think this is okay. I'm going to answer this one, and I might get this wrong.
Go for it.
But the question is, why didn't Aladdin get a flying carpet? I want to say that the actual original myth does not include a flying carpet, and that was a later addition. Like, obviously, the Disney version had a flying carpet, and I think that like we didn't do that because it wasn't part of his original core mythology. Like, it's mythology that comes from a similar like culture, right? But it's not. I don't think it was part of his original myth, from what I recall. Because I remember he actually had like two different kinds of genies. He had like a genie in his ring and the genie in his lamp. And that's why we tried to represent that with like his abilities using the ring genie and then the using the lamp genie and whatnot. But like, yeah, I don't think that like the magic carpet was actually a historical part of that myth. Yeah. I think we talked about it one time and we couldn't find enough evidence of it or something. So anyway.
Would make some sense.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in for today's Titan Talk. We'll be back on Friday the 13th, dun, 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 along with Karen Aspect. We should be live as well. And we'll give you more updates and answer more questions then. Thanks so much for tuning in. But if we don't see you beforehand, we'll see you on the Battlegrounds. Goodbye.